My dear Sitecore family, welcome to the season 2 of Sitecore Tech Talks. Today we have Meenakshi again on the show, and we are going to talk about how content can be accessed in and out of XM Cloud, not just on the next website, but overall if you want to build something for a business, utilize XM Cloud, maybe pull some data out from maybe from an outside system into the XM Cloud, and maybe also update it, stuff like that. So that's what we are going to discuss today. So Meenakshi, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for again inviting me in your show.
Yeah, and well, this is your first podcast after
Yes.
Sitecore MVP.
Yes.
So yeah, this year she received Sitecore Technology MVP for the first time. I am super happy because we were in the mentor-mentee program of Sitecore MVP. So it makes me feel proud that one of my mentee is a Sitecore MVP. So with that, Meenakshi, let's get started on discussing. So basically, we previously, let's say from XP world, right? If we want to have any kind of content move from in and out of the CMS, we were very easily able to do it, right? So we could maybe write pipelines, or we could write some C# code technically, which could run at any time, and then we could just put content into Sitecore using, let's say, the item web API we used to have. So do we have such kind of functionalities with XM Cloud?
Yes, we do have same functionality, and like here also we do have C# code and everything. The only difference with this XM Cloud or the JSS apps, because everything is in cloud now, we are working with APIs, mostly native APIs. We want faster results. So in this cases, we do have GraphQL in picture. So whatever functions we do with the like moving data or getting items in our Sitecore, we do it with the GraphQL
Right.
to make these things work on the XM Cloud and the JSS side.
Correct. So like if we say so, then in that case, all the CRUD operations, we used to have CRUD operations, right? Basically
Yes,
creating items, updating items, deleting them,
Yeah.
right? So all the different kind of CRUD operations are available in XM Cloud as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, like whenever you will be working with Sitecore, you will obviously have to create items, delete items, or if you have created, you might have to delete or update those items. So all these operations are supported by GraphQL, but while working with GraphQL, there are different ways, or you can say APIs available. So you have to be mindful like which API would be useful for your requirements. Like you mentioned, if you wanted to go for CRUD operations, we will have the mutation queries, or we will have the authoring APIs. So with the help of authoring APIs, because there would be like, if you want to see it like in SQL structure, your select queries would be a different, and your create update would have more
details to select
more
what to
details,
update.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's why we have authoring APIs for CRUD operations or the mutation queries. And if you have some like basic functions, like you want to fetch the data from Sitecore, because some your normal components, for example, for your normal components you wanted to show data, again there would be multiple approaches to show your data, whether you go with the layout services or with the GraphQL. But if there are certain requirements that you wanted to show data from GraphQL, you will have this simple edge queries to show the data.
Okay. So I would like to separate this a little bit, just to make sure that we cover each topic in detail. So first of all, you mentioned about the authoring queries, the mutation queries.
Yes.
And they have to be in kind of in GraphQL. So of course it's kind of a notation in which you need to fire the query so that something happens, right? So let's say we have GraphQL mutation queries in place to create an item structure. right? So in that case, of course, if I have to create an item, I might logically, of course, I will require a Sitecore template of which type of template,
Correct.
right? So how is that passed through?
Okay. So to start with, you'll whatever structure or you are working with, you will get playground. So in playground you'll have the access to documents which will give you guidance like this is the query structure, these are the parameters, and which are the requirement. Like you mentioned, for create item we need template, we need the item name, or we of course need the path where to create those items.
Yes.
So every those details would be needed, and this would be given document. So on the left hand side you'll get one
The schema that you see.
yes, correct. So once you start writing, like for example create item, so there would be a mutation query create item. When you write create item, you'll get which parameters, like whatever intelligence we are getting in the
Right.
Visual Studio, similar help you will get over there as well. So you will create writing like these parameters, you will pass the parent item ID or the template ID or the path where you want to create, and then language, which language you want to create, these way. And then once it is created, you wanted to see like which fields or how you want to access this, and this way you will be able to create this. And now one thing I would like to mention is when you are working with GraphQL and or the authoring APIs, there are ways that one token can be available for all the environments. So it's like best practice for each environment to create different token. Your token you can create like from the XM Cloud deploy app that you are getting. There you have to pass the client ID or client secret, you will get that. Once you have client ID and client secret, you will be able to get a token, bearer token. With that token you will be able to access all those mutation queries.
Okay, so again stepping back a little bit, if you want to fire any kind of mutation queries, you require a token.
Yes.
Right? Now you require a token. Can any user generate a token?
Basically your this token can be generated with client ID and client secret. So these client ID and client secret, if you have admin access you can create it, otherwise your admin users can give you that.
Okay.
And with that token only you will be able to create on specific environments.
So basically, can I put it this way, that an organization admin or an organization owner can only create it, because you just mentioned about deploy app.
Yes.
The organization users do not have access to the
Correct.
deploy app, so which means only these two kind of users can either create a token and use it directly, or create a token and use a client ID, client secret, create a token and give it to the development team to be used.
Yes, that
Right.
way also it works.
Now I think what you mentioned is absolutely correct, that we can use the same token for multiple environments of a given project. Although it is always, as a best practice, it is always good to utilize one token for one environment.
Different
Absolutely
environment,
makes sense, because in that case what would happen is that I mean, this is a very standard procedure, right? Like
Yes.
it's an SOP. Now of course we talk of tokens, but then in previous times when we used to access, we used to also do the same, that we have something which is environment specific. So you could put it in the config file and use it that way, which
Yeah.
is maybe a dev environment has something, QA environment has something. So I think technically makes a lot of sense there. These mutation queries that we talked of, we only took create as an example.
Yes.
Of course, update and delete might have their own parameters,
Yep, correct.
right? But then instead of just passing the data, can I parameterize it as well?
Parameters like what kind of parameters you want to pass?
Yeah, sure. So for example, I'm creating an item. So I, by default, what I'm doing is I'm giving it a template ID and I'm going into location where it needs to be created. And by default, I am giving it all the data in the fields so that the item can be created with that initialization.
Yeah.
Now, once that item is created with that name and this and that, the next time I want to fire it and next time I want to do it, I will have to update some fields. I will have to update also the location, for example, that are not exactly this location but a different location. So what I want to do is, even when I am doing it in playground, I don't want to give it in the query itself. I want to pass that as a parameter to that function.
Yeah, of course, you can pass that. Like, in what I understand is you are asking whether this location and everything you don't
Can
want
be
to
parameterized.
directly give it to the query. You wanted
Correct.
to pass it as parameter. Yes, of course, we can do that.
So that
because ultimately it is a language, and you have to like variables. What you are asking is whether we do have variable structure or not. Yes, we do. The GraphQL supports that.
Right. So any developer who is having organization admin or owner access might be able to use this using the playground, right? Okay. And these queries, like for example, the authoring queries, the mutation queries which you mentioned, um, is the same structure available whether you say for the preview or the edge, and also what is the difference between edge and preview?
No, actually, authoring and this your edge queries, this will not have the similar syntax or everything. So for example, this is specifically for the mutation queries where you wanted to fire the mutation queries, or it will create update and deal with your Sitecore. While the edge playground or edge queries we generally use, which is called as the edge queries, or there is one more thing with us, that is your preview queries. So the difference between edge and preview is let's take in the legacy way, because we all are Sitecore developers and we have worked with Sitecore so much that we are still in era where we used to have web database and master database. So the master is your similar to this preview and your web database is something similar to your edge, because whatever you publish will go to your edge CDN. But in case of preview, it means it is residing in your Sitecore, and it is on the Sitecore, whatever your CM or the Sitecore you are working with. So on the Sitecore preview one, we would be testing our queries whether it is working fine or not before publishing itself. If you wanted to test how the data would look like, or where the data would flow. So in that way, on the preview side, you will be testing your APIs. Once you publish this, or with the, and again, preview is not for your live traffic. Whenever you are dealing with your live traffic, you have to choose with the edge or the CDN server, and that's why it is for. So once it is tested and verified for your testing purpose, like developer, once it is done from the developer side, it would be executed on the edge server. And while difference between authoring and this authoring API syntax and everything is different from what we have on the edge side.
That is exactly the reason I asked, because from a thought process perspective, right? If I am saying preview equal to master and edge equal to web, right? So in initial days, for example, if we have any kind of item web API queries, they would be same regardless. So over here, if it is preview, of course the query syntax is different as compared to the edge query whenever there is. Okay, as a recommendation, like you've worked on a number of middleware solutions, and let me be clear, that's going to be a topic of one of our podcasts coming in future. But when we are focused on developing kind of structures and middlewares and APIs which can work with XM Cloud and create structures inside Sitecore using the the GraphQL APIs, the mutation queries and the authoring queries and stuff like that. What is it that is recommended to be used when creating, updating and deleting items, and what is it that is recommended to use when it is about just view and verification?
Okay, so when it is about creating, updating, deleting, it is your authoring APIs that have to be used, and with the mutation queries you are using. When it is for testing the data, you wanted to fetch data from the Sitecore and want to see like how the data would look. For that testing purpose, you should use the preview one, where you can test, and once you have the data, the same syntax and everything work for your edge. Just you have to change a little bit in the edge URL endpoints. And so in preview you will have preview, while in edge you will have edge dot the standard URL for the edge server. So whenever there is a query that you want to fetch and show the data, in that case you will have the edge one. So preview is basically not for the live traffic and live website, it is just for the testing purpose.
But then on a recommendation basis, that is something that you use when creating as well.
Correct.
Right. And if I have to access the playground for both preview and edge, what is the starting point, or what is the single point from where I can access it?
Similar to what you, once you are in the Sitecore, you will have your URL with your domains. With in that only you have to just admin/admin, and then your preview if you are using, then preview. And this is your preview playground exit URL. I'm not sure of, but that URL
But it
will
is
have.
through which app of like the portal? Like, is it the deploy app directly, or is it on the
Yeah, correct.
portal?
On the deploy app itself, if you wanted to see, you just have to go to your project, and inside project you will have, if you have multiple environments, you will see the environment, and inside that there will be a section developer where you will have two different playground URLs. Once you explore those URLs, you will be able to differentiate that which is for my purpose.
Cool. All right. Well, this was a great conversation. So, as a conclusion, of course, we are not losing anything with XM Cloud. It is actually giving us bigger and better features. Previously, it's just a way that it has changed, right? Like from item web API, it has basically moved on to GraphQL, mutation and authoring, and it has moved more towards an industry standard and practice. So we can still go ahead and create items into XM Cloud on a programmatically. Yes, whether to put that code and deploy it on XM Cloud or somewhere else may be a part of the next conversation.
Yeah.
But from a query basis, it's possible, and the way it is done is using authoring and mutation queries. And you need to be an org admin or an org owner, so that is when you will have access to the deploy app, through which you can go to playground, write the queries, test them out once, and in future use it on to developing middlewares or API structures for your business. So that's about it. Thank you, Meenakshi, for your time, and thank you for sharing such useful and valuable information to the community.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me in your show.
That's it about GraphQL. Hope you enjoyed the show. Cheers.